But when we think about the culture, workplace culture, how can one be an ally actively of how a company can institute active allyship?
Yeah, it's not about being a bystander, it's about being an upstander. There's a lot of different roles that allyship can take on, right? Really want everyone to feel empowered to be an ally. I'm going to talk about a few different roles. The first one I want to talk about is the sponsor. You all may have seen some of these roles of allyship circulating the internet. The sponsor is typically someone who is sitting in a seat of power, leadership, authority, influence, where they are able to help others build credibility, notice who is in the room versus who's not in the room, and say, hey, I think we should include such and such in this meeting or in this conversation. It could be something as simple as when a new person joins a team, right? You are fully backing that person and saying, this is why Jeannine was hired, because Jeannine is an expert on XYZ, right? Or if you are noticing that the same person is getting all of the stretch opportunities at work, they're the ones that's getting promoted, pay attention to the other folks that are not getting those same opportunities to grow. Pay attention to the folks who are not getting promoted and ask questions, right? Look for those patterns, look for those trends to say, have we thought about making sure that Diane has the same opportunities as John? Another role is the advocate. This is someone who is speaking up and ensuring that everyone's voice is heard, valued, and included. And again, I can talk about this from the policy, policy perspective, but also just, again, in a meeting. And sometimes when we think about allyship, we think of it it has to happen up here, but it can really happen in the day to day. If you notice that someone is quiet in a meeting, if you know that someone has a good idea that they're sitting on, right? Ask them to share. I noticed that you haven't shared anything, but I really value your perspective here, right? Or if someone, and again, as women, we are oftentimes overlooked or dismissed in meetings, right? We might say something, everyone just ignores it, and then you have a man that says the same thing, and they're like, that's it. You can always say, hey, actually, I think that, Diane had that point. Or when Diane does speak up, saying, I totally agree, right? Another role is the confidant. This is someone who's going to be a safe space. This is someone that you are able to provide a listening ear. You're able to be that person who notices when someone is being mistreated and you are checking on them, right? You are asking them, how can I support you? And then the last one I want to mention is the upstander. Again, this is someone who is going to be willing to speak up and out if they notice that there are some exclusionary practices, that's happening. Jeannine, earlier you mentioned the risk. This is someone who is willing to kind of risk their career, risk themselves to say, hey, that was not okay what you did here. This is not okay what you said here. And I want to call it out, and, I want to work towards some type of solution because that was really offensive, or that was just not okay. So those are some of the, kind of day-to-day roles. But then, of course, at the policy level, there's a whole slew of things I would recommend for that.
Latesha, what you have just done is given us a list. And what I love about that list is all of them have some sort of action level, right? So it might not be if you speaking up and you are the one that's like, I'm going to call attention to things. You might not be at the sponsor level yet, but there's something that we all can do and take a role in being active as an ally. So I'm still, you know what? I done moved up from coach on the allyship conversation.